Welcome to the 31st meeting of Junto Club. We begin this episode without a quote from Benji, instead hearing what Charlie Munger has to say about Bitcoin. This is in honor of our main topic, the practical applications of cryptocurrency. Shu tries to convince us that crypto will democratize and fundamentally reshape numerous financial industries, and that crypto will not simply remain a store of value or a hustle. We also get a little bit of a Matt rant on affordable housing in U.S. cities. For any questions, comments, or if you'd like to rant on something important to you, email juntoclubpodcast@gmail.com. This is Junto Club.
Junto Club.
So welcome to the 31st meeting of the Junto Club, where we are inspired by the original Junto Club founded by Benjamin Franklin around 300 years ago to discuss topics such as science, politics, and business. But the main difference is that I usually don't know what I'm talking about, and as usual, with me are my more accomplished fellow Junto members, Dr. Michael Petanati and Dr. Matthew O'Brien. And today's main topic is about interesting crypto applications, right? Because we know that when you think about crypto, most people just think about Bitcoin, but there's a lot more interesting things that's going on beyond Bitcoin in crypto. So I actually consider it one of the most exciting, creative, and most innovative space right now in technology, actually. Much more interesting than robotics or the other stuff.
All right, then I'm very skeptical of it, so you're going to see us fight about this in a little while, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. So talking about Bitcoin, so we usually start with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. So we're going to diverge from that tradition today in honor of Bitcoin. So Charlie Munger, one of the investing partner of Warren Buffett, say about Bitcoin. So this is almost like a quote within a quote. So he said that Bitcoin reminded him of an old Oscar Wilde quote about fox hunting. Quote, "The pursuit is like the pursuit of uneatable by the unspeakable." End quote. So he's comparing Bitcoin as that, and the pursuit of uneatable by the unspeakable. Anyway, do you guys know what he means by that?
So, I think the uneatable part's implying that you're hunting something you can't eat, so it's like a waste. Okay. But I don't know what unspeakable is referring to.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Well, no. I basically was just agreeing. I mean, my thought is the pursuit of the uneatable by the unspeakable. I guess the hunters of people who hunt purely for sport or kill purely for the fun are unspeakable.
Focus on fox hunting. Yeah, fox hunting. I guess. Do we eat fox? Is it edible? Is fox not edible?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be eaten, but maybe the meat is not tasty or is tough or something. But
okay. So
yeah, but I mean, I guess so. He's saying Bitcoin reminds him of that. So,
yeah, fox hunting.
So it reminds him of fox hunting. So I mean, in the context of hunting, I guess it makes sense. Like you're hunting something that you're not going to eat, so it's sort of like maybe it's morally objectionable to just do it for the sport of it. Like a lot of people say, hunting, it's they're for it if you're going to eat it, but if it's just you're killing things for the fun of it, that's something else. But
yeah. So I guess unspeakable. He just talking about the people are just pursuing the profits, right? Being greedy, maybe try to, he just hating Bitcoin, right?
Right.
So basically, and that's what he tried to say. He's like, oh, it's really not sustainable. It's a bubble, basically, right? So
sure. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have talked about it just being like essentially just like people drive up the price of this entity that has no real value, and then you know, people who invest late in the game are left holding the bag, basically. But I mean, is Charlie Munger the one who said like you only invest in things you know, right? Isn't that him and Warren Buffett's thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, is he a Bitcoin expert?
No, he's not. Well, but he's 97 years old, and then he knows something about investing. So.
Oh, that is fair.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so well, he also Anyway, so the original quote from the Oscar Wilde's play called "A Woman of No Importance." The original quote is, "Fox hunting is the unspeakable in pursuit of the inedible." Anyway, just for reference, if you're interested in the original quote.
Okay.
All right. So should we go to housing? Is that?
Oh yeah, I saw this. So this is a topic. I don't know if we've talked about it on this before, but I know I've talked about it with y'all, where I'm like, mad about the housing shortage and housing prices and the economic and personal harm it does. But I saw this interesting fact that, so the Bay Area, infamous for high cost housing, right?
Yeah.
Huge cities. Over 80% of it is apparently zoned for single family housing. So that's only single family homes are allowed to be built. There's something similar like Seattle. In the Seattle city bounds, like they also have something like 80% of it is single family housing.
What does single family housing mean? Like just like one family is only, you can build only homes for family?
You can only build like a
house,
one detached house that only is supposed to house like one family, separate from other things. So things that this bans is things like duplexes, triplexes, where they have like two houses kind of like with sharing a wall. This bans townhouses where you have, everyone has their own house, but they're just kind of like built next to each other. Obviously this bans things like apartments and larger scale buildings like that. So, it's just terrible. This is absolutely terrible. So housing zoning needs to be massively changed in pretty much every city in the U.S. But, it's
especially Bay Area. The area I'm about to move to in 3 months or so.
Yeah, right? Good luck buying a house, right?
You say 82% of the area, like residential zone, are like single family housing only. So what was do you know the original motivation for doing that?
So, I mean, there's different reasons that are put forth. Some's just like a desire to like keep the character of their neighborhood and whatnot the same. There's definitely people who point to at least some circumstances, racial motivations, part of the white flight from cities to suburbs, trying to like exclude. A lot of this falls under what they call exclusionary zoning practices, which is essentially things intentionally built to make it difficult to make housing, especially cheaper housing. So, you keep the people you don't want out of your community, whether that's based on racism or just more classist, like we don't want poor people able to live here. I mean, I think there was a crazy example where a school was going to build some lower cost housing for their teachers in the Bay Area, because I think it was the Bay Area, because it's like outrageously expensive housing and they don't pay teachers enough. So they literally can't live in the area. And then like people who have kids go to the school actually complained about them trying to make housing for the teachers. And it's just like, what are you even doing? Just, it's just bad all around.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Crazy indeed.
So is people paying attention to this right now, or no? Any legislations going on?
It's coming. There's been a couple of cities. I think there's been 2 cities that have just banned single family zoning. I'd have to Google them. but it's something that's starting to become, I think, more aware, spreading a little bit more, like the whole, because it's unsustainable, right? Like the idea that as people keep moving into cities, just like having these continually sprawling suburbs of single family homes is becoming more and more unsustainable. Like there is a limit where people say, like, after like 2+ hours of like traffic filled commute, they're just like, this is not, like, they're not going to accept it, right? Like most people will start to just be like, that's just not an option. And I mean, things like the new advent of remote work becoming more popular helps, but it's not a long-term solution. So I think a lot of people are realizing, like Seattle, you're like, well, in the city grounds, you could easily double the housing stock if you remove single family zoning, and some of those, were turned into apartments or quadplexes or other things, right? Like without having to take more space or more sprawl. And that would obviously drastically reduce the cost of housing, which is extremely high in Seattle, like it is in a lot of cities. So it's just a win-win. And I mean, yeah. And even people, like the people who build on the property, like the people who own the property probably make like it's good for poor people who need places they can rent for affordable. It's good for rich people who own land and can develop it to make more money. It's literally like a win-win on both sides.
Well, what about rich people owning a house? For example, if I own a house in those areas, right? I would be concerned that if you build more, maybe my, price of my house will go down, right? Because you have more supply, less demand.
It's possible. It depends. Because I mean, on one hand, when areas are developed more, generally the land value goes up in that area. So the property your house is on would probably go up. Your house that value of your actual house might go down a little bit because people might be less interested in the single family house next to a more developed area. But the important part is, who gives a fuck? Like, we shouldn't be basing how we build housing and stuff to protect the interest of people, that interest, right? Like it's not that important. Your house value is going to be fine. If you have a house in a city, it's going to be valuable. You're going to be fine. We shouldn't do what maximizes that house value at the expense of the whole economy.
Yeah, but who decides the zoning? Don't you put it forward for people to vote on it?
So I mean, one of the reasons this is an issue a lot of times, it's a very localized thing, right? So a lot of small communities have to kind of have a voice over the policies. I mean, they have these laws, right? But people apply them in different ways. And I say, but the important thing is, it's kind of a question of who actually goes to these community meetings where people disrupt. Because this is a story that's happened 100 times in the U.S. in the last 10 years, where someone's building an apartment in a place that's already allowed to build apartments on property they own. And then people in the community go complain and they get it blocked. Either they just get it officially blocked or they make it delayed and costs go up until the developer just gives up, right? Yeah. And then these are areas where housing is very expensive and they need more housing. So it's the issue is the sort of like the type of person that goes to these things. Yeah. And it's kind of like it's kind of like, what's the problem, where it's kind of the problem where like, it's a prisoner's dilemma in a sense. Maybe that's not right.
Thing? I don't know.
If one small community says we don't want this, right? Then you might say like, what's that big deal? Like they get to say that. But the problem is when that happens everywhere, like it becomes a massive problem, right? Because if you're not building new housing anywhere in a city that people keep coming in, the housing prices are just going to keep going up. And it's very bad. So I think one thing that's pointed to as a solution is to move a lot of these zoning decisions up to like a state level where basically local politics can't bully as much. You can't have like random people who are just like, well, I don't want this in my community, so I'm going to get a handful of neighbors to just go with me and like, bully the local council person into blocking it.
Now what happens to one person, one vote? It's my right to make it. Why do I? Then so you're advocating for big government to make decisions for you, for local.
I'm doing the opposite. I'm saying there shouldn't be single family zoning, shouldn't exist. And if you own property that's residential, you should be allowed to build residential things on it. Yeah. People are abusing government to block what other people want to do on their property.
Oh, okay, yeah. Are you saying the government should not regulate this in the first place?
I mean, essentially, I'm not saying there's no regulation housing, right? Don't let someone build like a chemical factory in the middle of a neighborhood, right? There is like sensible stuff, but a lot of these regulations are way overboard, and essentially are either we're unintentionally or maybe intentionally we're just are just meant to be abused and help some people at the expense of others. Again, like it's not your property. If someone wants to build 2 houses on it instead of 1, they should be allowed to, right? Like this is not that.
Yeah.
No,
so,
I mean,
yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say I'm all for, I guess my thinking is I'm all for, yes, if you have a residential, zone, like you should be able to do whatever you want that's within, the rules of your permit or whatever, so it's, so yeah, I mean, if there's space and resources that would support an apartment building, then you should be able to put that there. I guess my thinking though is like with the push for remote work and I guess population that is going to decline. Like, I know there has been like a flight for cities, but it's.
You mean flight from cities?
No, like our flight to. Like, I feel like people like a lot of people want to live in cities. Like, are moving from.
Well, first of all, let's just establish that the U.S.'s population is still increasing. So we haven't started the population decline. And even in places that have, like Japan, a lot of the big cities continue to grow in size because, even if the overall population is declining, if people are concentrating in cities. Sorry, what was your original question again?
So I guess I was thinking, okay, like, I guess I do wonder if there is some type of bubble coming with respect to housing prices in cities.
Oh, I don't think so. That's crazy. Yeah. Personally, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think mostly, like, I'm not saying it can't correct down somewhat, but I think mostly they're in the ballpark. Like, and even if they correct down a little bit, they're just going to keep going up after that. It's just people are just fighting over housing, right? Like, it doesn't take. Okay, so COVID was a really interesting kind of test case because there was a flight from cities. So like New York, which traditionally has less than 3% vacancy rate, which is way too low. So like any city should aim for at least 5%. But like a 3% usually sits under 3% vacancy rate. It shot over 10. I think it peaked around like 11. And you know what happened? Rents dropped like 30%. But it was actually much more significant than that because in New York, they have something called like, you would traditionally pay a broker's fee, which is at least 1 month rent that you pay to the realtor who's like found the apartment, and you just pay that. It's not like a deposit you get back. It's not going towards your rent. It's just a cost. And so that's like, and that was pretty much, at least during like the pandemic time, that was just, everyone was waiving that because they were trying to get residents. And they also, a lot of landlords started giving concession loans. So 1, 2, 3 months free on your lease. And they were doing that so that they could keep the price higher, not reduce the rent as much, but essentially still compete for things. So the 30%-ish drop in rent was actually more when you add in some of these other things. But now people are starting to move in, and they've seen recently, they're seeing New York housing prices are going right back up really high because it's kind of after the vaccine that a lot of people were like, okay, we're going back to the city in the summer, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's pretty clear that, you just need enough. If you have enough housing, it will fix the cost issue. But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think talking about housing and actually, so let's talk about something else then.
Okay. We'll come back to housing at some point. I've considered doing a topic on it one day, but.
Are you guys watching the Paralympics?
No, I didn't even realize they were going on.
I think they are going on right after Olympics, right?
Yeah, I saw the first thing I ever saw today.
Oh, what was it?
It was wheelchair rugby. I was like, what is this? So
wheelchair rugby. So it's not wheelchair football.
Well, yeah, I guess. But
nice.
So it was.
How'd you like it?
It was interesting.
Was it impressive?
Yeah, I mean, it was just interesting. Like, it was I was like, I didn't know if they would call it like handball or like, I mean, it's essentially just 2 teams. Obviously, the players are in wheelchairs, and they like pass the ball back and forth to each other. Like it's sort of like handball where they pass it to each other. And it's like, if people get in front of you, like it seems like you need to give up the ball. And it's about getting it like through like almost like a soccer, like So at the far end of the court is like a line that's like the width of like a soccer style net, and your team needs to like get through that with like holding the ball.
But you can't just like go through someone, so if they get in front of you, you have to try to go around or pass it off.
Exactly, yeah.
Can you tackle? Can you tackle in wheelchair rugby?
Well, I guess that's the equivalent of it. Like, I mean, there were definitely times where like people like slammed into like each other's wheelchairs, but it's like, but I think that's sort of the idea of like getting in front. You have to like forces them to give up the ball.
Nice. So yeah, and the reason I guess I brought that because I feel like Paralympics doesn't really get a lot of coverage, attention, like because. When the Olympics was going on, I see a lot of like, YouTube videos popping up, right? And then right now it's Olympics done, but Paralympics I don't see any videos popping up. However, during the Olympics, I actually watched some Paralympics like events. There are a couple of things that are really impressive, right? One is I never know that you can swim without arms, right? Do you know that? Have you seen that before?
Have you guys seen that? Do it. I haven't watched because even people with arms, pro swimmers sometimes practice not using them, just kicking for training.
Gotcha. Okay,
right.
Yeah, I just never thought about it. I was like, oh wow, because I actually I think 100 meters or something, and then these all different guys had different like disabilities. Some with like have no legs, some with no arms, some have like one arm or something like that. But anyway, so this Chinese guy, he has no arms, like both arms, right? So he was just like using his body, feet, and his head, I was like, wow, this is impressive. Swing definitely faster than me. But anyway, he won the event. I was like, wow, this is cool. And there's another guy, ping pong, right? Ping pong. And then he has no arms. This guy had no arms. How do you play ping pong with no arms? So what he did
was he biting it?
Yeah, he was using his mouth to hold the paddle. I think also he's using his feet to pick on the ball and throw it or something. So something like that. It was just, I was like, damn, this is amazing actually.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, it's sort of like, I guess it's like, in a way more inspirational because it's like, yes, the Olympics is inspirational, like look at what humans can accomplish, but it's like, I guess with respect to this, it's like look at what humans can accomplish even in the face of adversity, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just something that you never thought that you could do without these like disabilities, right? So anyway, so that reminds me I need to go later and to follow some Paralympic events right now.
I thought you were going to say you need to go work out later, but
that too. Yeah. Cool. Let's get into crypto applications, right? So
okay.
All right. So let's start with a quote, as usual. So the quote is, "The Times, January 3rd, 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks." End quote. Do you know what that referring to? Or where that quote is coming from?
So after the 2008 recession?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Just something about,
Yeah, so it's referring to the bailout of the banks, right? So I think around that time, you guys remember the Occupy Wall Street movement? Yeah, so this quote, this message actually is in the Genesis block of the Bitcoin. So the first block of Bitcoin has 50 Bitcoins on there, and it has a message. This is the message, right? The Times, January 3rd, 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. This message actually appeared in London Times, right? So the Bitcoin is whoever the creator, the Satoshi, right? He just put this quote in the Bitcoin block. So this is on the Genesis block, right? So the idea is that I think the motivation behind the message is not really clear, but most people just speculating. Oh, this means like they try to. The message is like as a reference to like why he developed or she developed the Bitcoin, right? Is to cut out the banks, a middleman, right? that he saw or she saw as corrupt or unreliable, right? So yeah, so basically the whole idea of the Bitcoin and the beginning of motivation, the blockchain is always to remove the intermediaries, like the banks, right? So like government, you have people like even in companies, right? You have board members and the people running the company. Those are intermediaries, right? But bank is a very good example because you need to go to a like Bank of America, Wells Fargo. You need to go to these branches. They hold the money for you, right? So you cannot say for you to send money to me, we have to go through these banks, right? These are the intermediaries. So yeah, anyway, the whole concept is try to remove that. And then you can look at all these applications right now that's happening in the crypto space. You can look at it as a motivation. You just remove this intermediary, right? So have you guys heard of something called DeFi?
DeFi.
So it stands for DEFI. It stands for decentralized finance, right? So that's exactly what this space is trying to do. It try to remove these banks, right? Like so, for example, for you to send money to me, you can just do it through blockchain, very fast, very efficient, right? Because right now, you people, you sometimes there's a lot of cost to you to do a transaction. And it's very slow, inefficient because you had to go through banks, right? You don't see what's operating in the background, right? You Venmo money to me, right? It's very fast to you, but actually in the background there's a lot of things going on, right? But if you remove all these banks, right? Actually, that means your money is gonna be worth a lot more because you don't need to pay removing these banks, right? You don't need to pay all these the cost to keep up with these banks, right? The branches and stuff like that, right? So, yeah. All right.
Venmo doesn't, just the obvious question here.
Yeah.
Venmo doesn't cost you anything to send money to someone.
Right.
Well, I guess. So I don't really know what I'm just saying. I think you still need to connect your bank. You still go through your banks, right? So it doesn't cost you. It might cost something else down there, call it. Like it probably can cost Venmo a lot of money, right? So anyway,
well, I do agree the cost exists somewhere, right? Because the banks make money.
Of course, it doesn't appeal to you as customers, right?
Well,
for now, maybe.
The cost, I guess, the cost to you is you need to keep your money with Venmo.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can lend it to others.
Yeah,
you don't even need to. Like, you can send money straight from your bank account through Venmo to someone else.
Right. No, you can. I mean, it stays in Venmo for 1 to 3 days, or they pay a fee, though.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the main thing is there's a cost, and there's inefficiency, right? Your money is sitting in the bank, and the bank doesn't give you any profit back, right? And the bank is doing all stuff with your money, but they don't really share the profit with you because they need to keep up with all these branches, right? So yeah, so next comes the decentralized finance. This one example is just to make these like banks like decentralized, right? Like put them in blockchain. That way, you don't need to keep all these branches, basically. All right. So one example is stablecoin. Have you heard of that? So Bitcoin is like one big complaint about Bitcoin is it's a very volatile, right? They go money up and down. So stablecoin is basically one stable coin is $1. That's the basic idea, right? That way you can do transactions between so if you put $100 into this type of one stable coin, right? You basically got $100 value as well. So basically, right, stuff like that.
Okay.
So basically, there's a different way of to do stable coin. One way is you put $100 in, they're gonna keep that as a reserve in the company. In the blockchain, so that way, basically, it's backed by the actual dollar, right? And there's other different of doing stuff to make it stable, but this is one example. So stable is one of the good ways they try to resolve the issue of the volatility in Bitcoin or the other stuff, right? So anyway, so that way you can do transactions between maybe buying stuff in the future and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, but is that? I don't know that changes anything really, though, does it? I mean, so like if it's always worth $1,
yeah,
like that, then I mean, I feel like that still requires all those institutions that you talked about, sort of like all those intermediate, like, because I mean, if it's based off the like U.S. dollar, like the U.S. dollar is highly dependent on a lot of that institutional stuff. So is that really changing anything?
Yeah, so that's one way of. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, I mean, theoretically, you could have people exchanging stable coins for goods and services amongst themselves, using it just as a secondary currency. I assume if it's pinned to the dollar, I assume the intention is to be used as currency for trading, right? Not a store of value.
Yeah, exactly. For trading, for buying stuff, yeah, not store of value. Yeah. So that way, actually, because, for example, if you move all your money into this, then maybe you got your everyday deposit, right, from your direct deposit from your job or something, you join this stable coin, right, and you put all the money in there, and that means your money actually you can do a lot of stuff with that money, right? So they could use your money deposit to lend it out to other people, because they don't need to keep these branches, right? So they can share these savings with you, right? With the customer, whoever put this money in the stable coin. So basically, right? I mean, that's one way they could do it. But anyway, but the simple idea of stable coin is just is $1 equal to one stable coin. That's the whole idea. Yeah. So there's other way of using a reserve. The other way is then they use some kind of computer algorithms to set a price such that one stable coin is always equal to $1. And that's a little bit more complicated. I don't know really the details. We can go in the future, but right now, just the basic concept of stable coin. Yeah.
Okay.
So once we have that, so have you heard of how something called so one application in DeFi that's really interesting is something called self-repaying loans, right? Of course, I guess you guys haven't heard it before, right? So that's the idea, of course, is that you take a loan out, but actually, of course, it sounds really crazy because you take a loan out, right? But the loan actually repays itself. You don't really need to, do anything. It just generates interest and repays it. Anyway, the way they do it is there's one blockchain company doing it right now. It's called Alchemix Finance, right? ALCHEMIX, Alchemix. Of course, they try to drive it from the alchemy, right? Like turning, I don't know, rocks into gold. So anyway, so Alchemix. So the way they do it is like you deposit money, you deposit some kind of asset, like other crypto assets like Bitcoin or Ethereum into the Alchemix, right? And then they're gonna give you these stable coins. You can take out your loans on your assets, right? These crypto assets, and then you can take out the loan, right? You can do stuff with these loans, like buy stuff yourself or buy a house or something like that. However, in the back end, what they're gonna do is they're gonna use your asset to do some kind of investing or the other stuff to maybe some safe to do different like earning something interest on your asset as well during the meantime, right? So they're gonna share it as returns from your original like principal, your asset, right? Something that you deposit in there. Actually, over time, like in 2 or 3 years, your loan actually gonna get paid back itself, right? So that was the basic idea. I think I don't really know a lot of details into it, but this was the basic how they do it. Like you put your crypto in, you give some stable coins, you can do stuff with the stable coin, and then whatever you put it asset inside the blockchain is earning some interest, and over time it repays the loan. So it's called self-repaying loans. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I get it, but I mean, like, so they give you money, you buy a house, like, are they, they're like, we put your house on Airbnb,
No, they put your original asset. You take out your loan. Your loan, you can use your loan to pay to buy house. But however, you need to put something in there first, right? It's not based on your like credit history. your trustworthiness. You don't need to go through bank to approve your loan, right? You just go here, you just deposit your, like, for example, you have maybe 1 or 2 Bitcoins. Say, okay, I want depositing these 1 or 2 Bitcoins in your blockchain, right? In your company. And then I can take out maybe one equivalent of 1 Bitcoin, like amount of money, right? I can use that money to do stuff, like to do stuff in the real world, right? So yeah. And then your asset is sitting in the blockchain, but they can use but it's generating interest, and over time, those interests actually repays the loan. The reason that the interest is high because is one thing is crypto, and then you don't have these intermediaries to recruit a lot of costs. So it's very, I guess, so there's a lot of savings over time. So you don't need, so that was the basic idea. Yeah. So it's not like they put your house, say, as a collateral or anything. Yeah.
Right. I see. Okay. So basically, I mean, they'll give you, if you have $100,000 in Bitcoin, they'll give you $100,000, and then they'll use the Bitcoin for some period of time to earn 100,000 extra. Then they return the Bitcoin to you. Is that the idea?
I think you can take it out, and then yeah.
Okay.
So I think you can, if you 100 Bitcoin, I think they only allow you to do like 50 Bitcoin amount of equivalent loan. They don't allow you to do the full amount. But anyway, that's just technical stuff. Something that But that was the basic idea, right? Put something in, it can, anyway.
Okay.
So, I mean, just something, the idea of self-repaying loan is quite interesting to me, right?
So the core, all right, I'm going to start, getting, not combative is the right term. I guess, I'm just going to start throwing some hard questions here. So the core advantage you're saying is by doing these people are trying to reproduce financial instruments kind of decentralized with cryptocurrency as like the base, right? Is that correct?
Say again?
People are kind of trying to re-implement some of the things financial institutions do, but in a decentralized manner using cryptocurrencies.
Blockchain specifically, yeah.
Yeah, and what you're saying is, we're removing the cost of these large banks that have physical branches and stuff. Okay. And I mean, that's definitely understand the idea of saying like, well, with modern tech, can we sort of disrupt this market that had these old large institutions that might be inefficient? But there are new online banks being made that seem to me would fill this role better because they don't have physical branches or these large costs, like cost of the sort of old school institutions, but they're not using blockchain sort of assets. They're just doing what normal banks do, right? So these do exist, like new online banks are being started up. So what's the advantage? So I guess, what's the argument? Why would I want to go with the blockchain version?
So, yeah, I think the main thing is, again, is even that is an intermediary, right? So the whole idea is to remove that. I think the main event, of course, it's going to be a lot of disadvantages, but the main advantage is to remove this intermediary, even if it's just online bank, right? So you don't, even right now, if you, to apply a loan, right, to even it's online, right, you still need to go through your credit history. Some person need to approve the loan for you, right?
Yeah, but here you're saying
crypto, you don't need to be approved, right?
Okay, so you don't need anonymous. a good credit history, but you're saying you need to give a couple of Bitcoins, which is tens of thousands of dollars, worth of an asset. You need to give it to another company, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're still going through these they are an intermediary, right? You're working with other companies just in a different way. And I mean, they're doing it in a different way. So if you want, we'd say it's actually better. Okay. But this also came up last time we talked about blockchain early on in our podcast where, the guest, he was like, he asked the question. He's like, can I sell my Bitcoin, just on my own? And the answer was no, you have to go through, the miners that They're like kind of the nodes within the decentralized network that like
you do ghost kind of exchange. Now you can sell actually probably Coinbase or like. But actually,
so in the end, it's like, well, aren't you just going through intermediaries either way?
So yes, so that's things going on in that area as well. Something called decentralized exchange. You can actually exchange you have different tokens. Crypto. You can change with another peer-to-peer exchange. Something called biggest one is called Uniswap. So UNI swap. So basically the idea is that another person is swapping. And the difference between that is Robinhood, right? Is the intermediary. You need to go there, they do the coordination between the trades. But by Uniswap, they don't do that. They just one person can swap token with another person, basically, right? So you still go through that Uniswap, the intermediary. The exchange, you still need to go through that blockchain, right? But that's actually not already going to something. So Uniswap actually is kind of related idea. So instead of one person, founder, for example, in the beginning you have someone few programmer developers create this exchange Uniswap, right? Mm-hmm. But over time, actually, they are evolving into something called DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations, right? And there's another related concept, another big concept as well, which is it's going to be controlled in the future. And over time, these actually Uniswap, this decentralized exchange are not going to be controlled by a company. It's not going to be controlled by a few person, actually, a few developers. It's going to be controlled by everybody that owns some token, a uni token in a Uniswap, right? So this community actually have tokens can vote and making decisions for this basic company, right? So that's why it's called autonomous organizations, right? So it's going to be the decisions is not going to be holding by board member or company, right? It's going to be by the community, whoever involved, yeah. Mm. So that's kind of related, yeah. So all these are any kind of crypto company. A lot of what they try to do is over time they try to become a DAO, basically, yeah. I know it's a little bit complicated, crazy kind of thing out there, but
someone's still got to run these servers, right?
These are earlier additions of these applications. But as you mentioned, you say someone need to run servers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so fundamentally, that's what. So all these applications, decentralized finance, they are running on something called Ethereum. And Ethereum is different between Bitcoin. Is a blockchain. So you have blockchain is running on on this network of computers, right? So you could have for example, anybody can run an Ethereum Ethereum node in their own home, right? So everybody actually is helping running these servers in a way. Now it's almost like a global universal computer in a way. It's in a network, right? So you don't have a central. That's one thing about decentralized blockchain. You don't have a central server that is collecting all this data, control everything, right? Mm. It's all decentralized. Yeah. Mm. So then that's one thing about whoever is running the server question. But in the beginning you do have a few developers that's designing these coding this stuff up, right? So yeah.
Hold on, this might be an important call. I'm gonna mute myself. Sorry.
No, and then that's why we're not doing it live.
No, I mean, I think, I guess I just have questions about, what is the, I guess, that's that.
Sorry, it was a call from Church of Tech, but it was a G10s alert nonsense.
What was the alert? Louisiana?
No, hurricane? I think it was some crime thing. I didn't listen to it.
Oh, boy.
What crime? Okay.
The GTPD, had a crime nearby on campus. And
oh, no.
Anyway, right. Sorry.
No, that's good. That's good. We might have to put this in there, too. Yeah, I forgot to hear about Louisiana hurricane. Is it coming to your place?
Yeah. No, my family has left, so we just gotta wait and see what happens.
Your family evacuated.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I think.
And then you can cut to the clap I'm about to do, and then we'll go back to the topic.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. What are you talking about before we got distracted?
We were talking about like
Ethereum,
how decentralized crypto really is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's what the blockchain is. Is the whole idea is decentralized, and there's no central server that keep record of the blockchain, like proving the blockchain, validating the blockchain, basically, right? So
right. I guess there's like I feel like a lot of the companies that are using like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are in a way trying to exploit or like trying to do a similar thing that I would contend is good, like centralization does well, right? It's like when people all are storing their money with someone like a bank, then they can like it's very easy to lend to people. Like, or like people know who to go to get money to start a business, like buy a house, like make investments. Like, so I guess is it like is totally decentralized? Like, I mean, like we could have totally decentralized like money. Like everyone withdraws every cent they have from banks and we hand each other cash. Like that's
not
totally
really. You hand people cryptocurrencies.
Well, Mike's saying you could have decentralized without crypto if we just hand cash.
Right.
Yeah. But then if you're upset that that's too centralized because the federal government controls it, we go back to gold coins, right? Like,
right.
Yeah. So you basically you're going backward now.
So I'm now jumping in on Mike's point. Is crypto going backwards?
What do you mean going backward? How did you get going backward?
Just losing some of the advantages of having a centralized, universally recognized currency system. Because like banks are nice, right? Like they give me a lot of services, guarantees, features, right?
Yeah.
Like that I don't have to. So I don't worry ever about my money being lost. It's like not possible. Like people can't steal my money that I have in a bank. I can pay with a credit card, and I know I have a bunch of security features, and they can. Well, even if it does get stolen, someone spends it on it, I can just be like, "Hey, I didn't do that," and they'll cancel it all.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there's a lot of stuff. You can get loans, as Mike says. Like you can get loans and stuff. Credit cards let you get credit.
Yeah.
You can get a decent amount of credit, and if you pay it back pretty quickly, you'll pay nothing on it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of advantages that the banks give you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why not everybody jumping on the bandwagon of crypto, like decentralized finance right now. But these are just a few like applications are emerging right now. These are still very, very early days, right? So the stuff we're talking about today could just go to, I don't know, zero tomorrow, right? So these are just interesting ideas that we just people are coming up with, like how can we use blockchain, right? So I don't think the blockchain have really found a killer app yet, right? But but there's a lot of things that are going on in this space, right? People are creating, innovating, so that's why I find it very interesting and exciting. Now, every day, even experts having a hard time keeping up with what's going on in this space, right? So yeah.
And obviously, sorry, you go, Mike.
Well, this is okay. I mean, this is getting a little off topic, but I was just gonna say, like, in my mind, like crypto, like I think crypto has applications, but to me, it's more like I don't know. I buy as much as the intermediary argument as much as just like the privacy argument, like or it allows you to be sort of
anonymous.
Yeah.
So the dark web of finance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like obviously like it goes beyond. Like I think it can go beyond just buying drugs and guns online. Like, I mean, I think it like it can help, like in theory, it could help people like be less tracked with their purchases if they worry about that type of stuff. Or, I mean, just like stuff you wouldn't necessarily want people know, like, and it even beyond illegal stuff, there may be stuff you want to buy where you're like, I don't want people to know I'm buying this. So,
yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, so there's all this stuff that's being developed, innovation, and I mean, like in any time there's a new space. I'm muting
myself for 1 minute.
Okay, like anytime there's an innovation, a new space, like the vast majority of the stuff turns out to not be good, right? Fails.
Yeah.
But but there is a possibility that something, the killer app as you called it, or like some very useful, popular thing comes out of it.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree with Mike. I imagine something will persist long term. There's going to be some Bitcoin or Bitcoin equivalent, but I'm still very skeptical about it taking over mainstream finance, really. Like, it's hard for me to see the advantages, and advantages that can't be quickly gained back by when applied to a more traditional system, right? Like I said, you can have very lean online bank companies that take some of these advantages without worrying about the crypto problem. Having to design a blockchain or algorithm and whatnot. They just use normal money, which most people, at least right now, would be rather work with, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I personally, right now, I'm I think I trust the banks are more, right? Because they're, big institutions, right? So they're not going to fail anytime soon until you have nice things happening like 2008, like bailout, the banks start failing. But, and that was as we talked about in the message earlier, right? That was the original motivation of the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So,
I mean, and it sounds noble, but in the end, like long term, was that a big deal? The 2008 recession, like in terms of like banks and our financial systems, like,
I guess for people that was hurt a lot. Yeah, I guess. But for you and me, I guess it did not really impact us. But some people were, yeah.
I guess mine was more in terms of like the financial system. I mean, I guess I would say like I mean, we were young during this, so I can't say we were, incredibly knowledgeable about what was going on, but it seemed like it had what I would say like a stutter. But I know, so like the government, like basically they did the bailout, but most of those bailouts the government got all the money back. I mean, we'd have to get to specific, but like with the TARP, toxic asset relief program, the government like bought these toxic assets and then they actually made like a slight profit on it, I believe. And some people say, oh, well, after inflation they could have used that money and made more, so there's still a cost. But like, if, it's obviously not ideal. And now people have, I don't know what they changed afterwards to try to avoid it. I think people at least tried to make changes to the rules to avoid a repeat of that situation. But like, I mean, we've had there were cyclical markets hundreds of years ago, like 200 years ago, right? You had cycles of like crashes and booms that were inherent to the markets. And in modern times, we've made things more stable, not less. So.
Yeah, I think, yeah, in the future, I think these like centralized still going to be exist, right? But I think these decentralized provide a good alternative, right? So I think they provide a good alternative where like, people that cannot go, maybe doesn't want to deal with the centralization or tie of it, there's a different alternative to put where the money, to put their money, right? So. And then they, I don't know, there may be other innovations that actually maybe provide a lot of advantages of doing it. So, yeah, I guess Mike said earlier, initially it's dark web, right? So autonomous money laundering, illegal stuff, right? So
I still,
anyway.
It still makes me nervous about the lack of nothing's grounding the value of cryptocurrencies, which are most of these are pretty much all these things are based off of, right? Like, and without some grounding, it's very much, if people just decide it's not worth anything, it's not worth anything. But the U.S. government basically guarantees that your dollar is worth a reasonable amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, there are guarantees built in.
Well, and right now you trust you. So that's what our Tom's organization is, right? You trust the government right now, the central intermediate government, right? Now in the future, if you in the meme stocks, right, demonstrated already, right? Means if you have enough group of people believe in something, right? That's what money is, right? If enough people trust in this something, it has value. So yeah.
But so like the meme stocks, like what is it, GameStop?
Yeah, I mean, it's just saying these. I mean, that just demonstrate. It doesn't mean that GameStop is sustainable. I'm just saying that it's the power of the enough people believe in something, and you can generate value from enough people believe in something.
See, I feel like that's exactly what. If you're trying to argue for cryptocurrency, I feel like that's exactly what you should be avoiding. Like the speculative bubble, right? Like, is that all cryptocurrency is? Because value that, well, I mean, the oldest example, you ever hear about the Dutch tulips?
Yeah, the bubble, yeah.
Yeah, like, so like.
There's one example,
of a speculative bubble, right? Like people the price climbs up and people think it's going to keep going up. So they keep buying and it keeps going up, right? Yeah. But without anything underlying value, eventually this bubble pops and maybe some people make money every time there's a speculative
what's the undervalue? What's the underlying value of gold? It's just a rock, right?
Gold has a lot of uses.
For what?
Jewelry, computers.
Yeah,
those are too important.
Jewelry,
like
what's jewelry? Jewelry, just something like. Does it has utility? Does jewelry has utility?
Yes, it provides utility to people. That's why they get it.
Yeah, because people put value in it, right? In the first place. Otherwise, it's okay.
But they use it. They literally use it for something.
Yeah,
right?
Then they assume gold has value, so they put it as a jewelry. If gold has no value, like trash, a metal, aluminum, why would you put aluminum on your neck, right? So I'm saying that gold is because there's a consensus.
People make jewelry out of other metals than gold?
Yeah.
You don't have to make jewelry out of gold, so.
Yeah, but there's different value, right? But a lot of people put value, equate gold to money because they think this is valuable, right? Because they believe this is valuable, right? I mean, ultimately, that's what money is, right? It's a collective belief.
Yeah, but no, that's
so.
fine.
So if you have enough people,
but gold's not money.
What?
Gold's not money.
Well, it used to be money.
I guess you could say it used to be used as money, but
it's still money, right? Still, right now, a lot of people when they try to when they try to maybe a country is going down the drain, or sometimes maybe in the U.S. currency is going down, right? A lot of people switch to gold, right?
Yeah, but it's an asset.
Yeah,
it's not money.
It's not using for exchange right now, right? It's the store of value, right?
Right. Well, I can buy a house to store value. That doesn't make house money, right? Like gold is an asset. It's a physical resource that we have uses for. Some of which you may say has no practical purpose, but someone wanting to wear jewelry is still a physical use. Computers use a lot of gold as well, and that's actually pretty important in the modern age. So gold is a physical resource with actual value that ensures it's going to be like, maybe if everyone stopped caring about gold jewelry, would the price of gold go down? Yes, but it wouldn't disappear, right? Like it's gonna have value. Like, money, like currency, doesn't, right? Like it's not an asset. The difference is that there's no physical purpose of it beyond the fact that we exchange it with each other.
Yeah.
As a tool.
Yeah, like you're talking about money, right? Currency has no value. That's what you say.
Right, but but the U.S. government, I guess I mean, we've just kind of circled here. I'm not sure where we're going with here. But
I mean, my point is money is a collective belief. That's what it is. That's what I'm just saying. If you have enough people believe in that, I agree. I'm saying that if enough people agree that we're going to use this as a exchange of goods, and that's money, right?
Yeah. That's fair enough.
If suddenly tomorrow you wake up, okay, we want to use house as a currency of exchange, yeah. we could do that, but it's gonna be hard, right? Now you and me, like, we can just exchange it, right? Okay, I'm gonna exchange this for my house with something for you, right? We can do it, right?
Well, that's bartering, right? At that point,
exactly. I mean, that's what money is, right? So...
No, money's not bartering.
Okay, yeah. And I think we're going too much into diverge too much.
I agree. I think so. The central point is I'm just concerned because crypto doesn't seem to have any value beyond what people. Intrinsic value. That's a good way of point. It doesn't seem to have intrinsic value. It's very much strictly, because people believe it's going to have value tomorrow. And, and I mean, I don't think there's no one who really knows, right? Will crypto be around in 30 years or will it vanish because everyone realizes it's like pointless? Like, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
That makes me nervous.
Yeah, it should be. You should make you nervous, actually. I mean, that's why I'm not putting all my eggs into Bitcoin, right? Because it's super risky, right? It could go to zero tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's very point. Yeah. And that's why Charlie Munger hates Bitcoin, right?
I mean, I get it, but I also believe I think the modern world has shown like a diversity of like payment options is desirable, right? If those payment options like offer different things. Like I'll use my American Express card, to buy like an airline ticket because they, offer me extra perks for using their way of paying. And I mean, and it's like at some places will offer you like discounts if you like, I mean, this is a poor example because I don't even know if this is true, but like places used to offer like, like if you pay cash, it's like a little less because they didn't have to like
pay the fees.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, I wonder if Bitcoin offers that element of like, I can use cash, like it's a cash type transaction, like, but online.
So you will not use nobody is proposing using Bitcoin to buy stuff. It is a store exchange, right? So that's why people create these different coins, like stable coin. You can use those to do exchanges, right? Yeah. So anyway, so I think we talk about autonomous. Another big concept I think we did not emphasize on is the decentralized autonomous organizations, right? Is try to basically decentralize companies like corporations, basically, right? So you
mentioned them, but yeah,
we mentioned it, but I did not really go through it. But I think that we got a basic concept, so we don't really get into it. But that is another. So the first one, a big thing is going on is decentralized finance, right? And the other one is to decentralize organizations. So that's why it's decentralized governance, right? So a company, right now is controlled by board members, CEO, all this stuff. Like government is controlled by all these senators, all the other stuff. So decentralized organization is trying to make it basically this organization decentralized. So the people are gonna hold some kind of like tokens and stuff like that, and so they can like vote like how to basically making decision of what an organization should get into, right? Basically, right? So another one example of that is something called Flamingo DAO. So it's an autonomous organization created to buy NFTs. So there's so the decision making, like, for example, for this company called Flamingo DAO, like to purchase NFT is made by all the members, right? The members basically vote on which token to buy, basically, right? So this is still a very early example right now. So it's still in a very early stage, but that's one of the examples, right? So for example, right now you could create a DAO for yourself, and then you can, if you have enough members, you can make a decision on what to do. Like, for example, this podcast or something, right? So I don't know.
So, but it's just like a pure democracy of a business.
Kind of, but whoever hosts. So yeah, there's a lot of disadvantage and arguments against it too, right? So right now it depends on how you design it, right? So right now I think a lot of DAO just have enough, like whoever holds most tokens. So basically your vote is weighted by how many tokens you hold, right? So the more money you put in there, you have more skin in the game, so you have more say, basically, right?
So basically, you create organizations and you sell tokens, which are like kind of like bits of ownership.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying this sounds a lot like a stock, right? Like you buy a stock and then the more stock you have, the more voting rights you have for a company.
And
but
board members probably have a lot of stock. So.
Yeah, so the board, I mean, right now the company has still final decision making is still made by the CEO and the board members, right? So the board still can vote, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but in ways, like, I feel like the argument, like, oh, boards are bad because, like, oh, they're beholden to stockholders. So they don't, they often, like, will, lay off people or not be as innovative as they could be because it's cheaper and they're making tons of money just, like, keeping the status quo. Like, the iPhone 13 is the same as the 12, that type of idea.
They have some incentives are not aligned with the people like stakeholders, right? So,
so basically, DAOs are, stocks, but applied but like the blockchain version of stocks. Would that be accurate to say?
Yeah, it's So that's what made me think about it too. Now, right now you have shareholders, have stocks, right? They can have some voting power, right? But DAO, the member had a lot more say, basically, right? Community had a lot more power in governance.
Is it intended for people to be able to sell their tokens of ownership of these companies? Like, is that the point, or is the intention for people like to just hold on and guide the organization as they see fit?
I think the goal is to do that, but sometimes you can sell it too. I think at the same time. Right, so you are more valuable, right? So if the value goes up, it's harder for you to leave, right? Because you have stake in the game already, right? Yeah. So another thing about DAO, I find it very interesting about cryptocurrency is that so there's something like if for example, like if you buy the token, you own like a member of a DAO, right? So what happens if something goes bad, right? So what happens is something goes bad, that a lot of people actually leave the community and they create another DAO, and they could create another one that actually basically like new organization, basically, right? So if there's a bad player, like for example, someone owns like 90% of token, you try to control this DAO, right? Only other member can just leave, right? If DAO only one member is not really a DAO anymore, right? So you don't really have enough power anymore. So the member, if they really hate it, they could move to another one. And then the way they do it is because like blockchain is very open source, right? It's open source code. Anybody can fork it, right? So Mike, can you explain, or Matt, can you explain what forking is?
Basically, it's basically just copy the code and make your own version, right?
Exactly.
So you can tweak it and then run what you want.
Yeah. So that's why there's so many like different version of blockchains out there right now, because it's so easy for you to just copy it, right, and then make your own organization like blockchain out of it, right? So and then you can just move all your member over there, basically, right? So there's one interesting case called I think we talked about Uniswap earlier. Uniswap is a decentralized exchange, right? And someone actually copied that, fork it, and then create something called Sushi Swap. So anyway, it's Sushi Swap, so it's called Sushi. So they got Sushi tokens. It's pretty interesting too. So they create a Sushi version of Uniswap, and then actually a lot of people using that right now, like move their money to Sushi Swap to do exchanges. So anyway, it's interesting. That's another important interesting idea about fact about blockchains, that a lot of people, you can just like fork it, right? If something that you don't like or the existing organization. So because anybody can actually, it's all open source, so you can actually read the code right now, like what's running on, like how the code, you can see what's running on Uniswap or any other stuff. So yeah. Now anybody can like audit it, examine it, if something like to figure out, or maybe something fishy is going on too sometimes. But yeah.
No, open source is good. Open source is useful. I like open source. But, I mean, isn't this like, again, I don't mean to be negative all the time, because I'm going to be very excited when you one day be like, here's like the big thing that like blockchain is doing that's very useful. But like the fact that anyone can just fork it and make their own cryptocurrency, DAO, NFT, whatever, like, isn't that kind of part of one of the reasons I think people are skeptical about the value is because there's literally thousands of crypto coins out now, besides for, a few, the early ones that got off the lead, like Bitcoin especially. Like, how do you identify what's going to be the one that holds value, right? Because if you just make your own, like again, it's all decentralized, right? So like, if you can just say, oh, I'll just make my own, if people do gather to yours, that means the ones they came from lose value. If if they don't, you don't have any value, right? Like it's all.
Yeah, it's crazy out there right now. Like Dogecoin, right, originally created as a joke, right?
Yeah.
So now it became a meme token, right? So you don't know which one's gonna go out. It's just right now, currently, it's just if there's enough people believing it will go out in value. So, but it's right now, it's a really crazy time. So it could go to zero again tomorrow. So, but those are fair points. But
I guess. I mean, at this point, I feel like I don't think Bitcoin is going to go to zero. But no. I feel like it's more like I say, I think there will be a couple of cryptocurrencies that will do certain things well, whether it be like privacy or whatever, and like the community will like sustain those. But I mean,
so anyway, you're right. I think it's probably not going to go to zero. And as to Matt's point about all stuff are going on crazy, anybody can just create their own currency. Yeah, true. But anyway, this space is very interesting right now. So that's why I just want to pay attention to it, see what's going on, talk about it, teach myself.
I thought NFTs were still the hot new thing, but now I realize that's old.
It is. It is. Yeah, DAO is the new hot thing. But I mean, actually, metaverse. Have you heard of the things about metaverse? I think we're not going to go into it. I'm going to study more. But in the future, we're going to go into it. Metaverse is, what metaverse is, right?
Like comic books?
No, metaverse is basically, so you have different, it's a single universe in a virtual and physical space. It's kind of merging between physical and virtual. And at the same time, there's a different universe. For example, now you have like Blizzard and like create different games, right? And then you can cross over to the other game. So you have one thing in like maybe Fortnite, you can transition to another game. Now you have some kind of weapon or something, you can transition to the other game. So right now there's a movement trying to create a metaverse. You can have like NFTs in there, all the artworks and all the stuff like weapons from different games. You own something, your digital asset can transfer between different digital assets, right? And then actually Facebook recently just, I think, Zuckerberg just announced, have a meeting, say the future of Facebook is going to be is metaverse. So they're going to actually focus on, instead of just like social network connecting everybody, right? They're going to try to move into metaverse, right? Using, of course, probably with their virtual reality goggle stuff they have. Anyway, stuff like that. So Facebook is getting into metaverse as well. So, and then the key building block is the blockchain underneath it, right? So I got to go into that in the future, but not today.
All right. We'll have to have an episode of metaverse.
Yeah.
For metaverse, you might need to bring in videos. Well, this is still a podcast, so people have to be able to listen. So I feel like at this point we need videos.
No, people can describe it. You can describe it and people can look it up themselves.
Well, this episode is not live right now, but I mean, like, we usually are live on YouTube and Facebook, and you can share a screen.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, but like in theory, people are supposed to be able to listen to it and get everything. So relying on a video might be bad.
Anyway, they just need to wait for the future. Anyway, so using their imagination. So we talk about decentralized finance, also decentralized like companies and government maybe potentially in these organizations. So my question for you guys is, what else should be decentralized? What do you think?
Besides for currency?
Yeah, like finance, right? Like banks, government, company, organizations. Is there any else that you think that should be decentralized? That maybe there's somehow we can remove the intermediary. I don't know.
I was just gonna say, like, I think centralization is on a continuum, and neither extreme is good for anything.
Okay, now what should have a decentralized alternative, I guess? Decentralized version that maybe,
Zoning.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's actually that's a good example of actually since you were talking about housing, right? Zoning, like local making the decision, right? If you can create a DAO out of that, then everybody have a vote. Then whatever they decide, might be good. I don't know. I mean, right now, I think you mentioned the zoning right now is because there's only very few people participate, like go into a zoning meeting or something, right?
That's one of the issues. But I think a lot of people talk about the locality of the decision making as one of the things that creates the problems. Right? Because if you need something built, but everyone says, well, we don't want it built by me, then it never gets built. Even if people are better off with it, right? So But yeah, so maybe that was more of a joke. But what are you alluding to? All right, what's the big thing that hasn't?
Oh, I don't know. I actually try to see what you guys think, because I try to figure out like what is being overlooked by other people right now, right? And that's what I try to see, right? Because like, okay, decentralized. Everybody's focus is on decentralized finance right now, and then DAO, and all these NFT artwork and stuff like that. Like NFT is a little bit different, right? It's like non-fungible, right? Just unique thing, right? But I was wondering, like, what other application or what other things can we using blockchain for, right? So, yeah. Anyway, you don't have to give the answer right now, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's sort of, I feel like it's hard because, whenever you talk about, you can talk about the brain, right? Like, the brain is just billions of, mini decentralized transactions.
Okay.
But it's me at a different level.
You're getting a much deeper philosophical level here, Mike, than I think Shu was going for.
You can see the whole universe as a human being inside one body, right? The whole universe as one thing.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean when we talk about, what is decentralization? Like, how far do we want to take it? Like, do we want to just be in a state of nature? Or do we want, obviously that isn't good. But, do we just want, we also don't want, the government to control our oil. So,
You're taking this in a lot of directions.
Well,
But no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. A lot of it's, even with the same amount of decentralization, a lot of it's, what do you view it as? It's the frame you view it from, right?
Right.
All right. I think that's good. I think we might need to go into that next time.
All right, hold on. Sure, I got an example though. We're talking about forking code. When are they going to have blockchains for software so that open source things can be tracked and owned? That way you can have open source code, but it's still owned by someone.
What do you mean? Like blockchain tracking software? Oh, so someone wrote a code.
Yeah.
And then using blockchain to keep who wrote it? Is that what you're saying? Who owned it?
You said what could be decentralized ownership sort of things, right? I guess it'd be like an NFT for code, right? So that you say, oh, I own this open source code, and then maybe if people want to edit it, they pay you or something. I don't know. This isn't a serious idea.
Actually,
I was just throwing that out.
They do have something similar, not like that already, something called generative art, right? So basically right now NFT, someone create a painting, you convert it into a digital image, You put NFT on it, it became an NFT, right? Now, actually, a lot of people like create something called generative art. That means that when you purchase it, is something there's a computer algorithm code that actually running behind it. So when you click the buy an NFT, it actually generates art for you, and then you own that art, and then that art is associated with that piece of code, right? Because in that instant, the code changes or something like that, do different kind of mathematical computations, and it could be a music, it could be art. That's
could be
one
a Minecraft world.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? So actually when you buy it, you don't know what you're gonna get, right? So that's generative art. So actually, this is the crazy things going on in NFT right now, and I wasn't going to go into it because that's a different topic. So yeah, but there's something like that is going on. So it's not you almost like can own a piece of code, right? Yeah, similar idea, right? And cool. All right, enough of that. I think the last thing I want to get into is something called Chia network, CHIA. Actually, it's called crypto farming, right? I assume you guys haven't heard it before, right? Crypto farming. You heard of mining, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bitcoin mining, right? Crypto mining. But this is so the main criticism of Bitcoin mining is energy, right? Using a lot of power. So crypto farming, so Chia, what they do is instead of using like your computer to do computation, to run computation, to do proof of work, they're actually using something called proof of space and time. So the idea is using your like unused hard drive on your computer to prove to validate the blockchain network basically. So instead of doing computation, they're using instead of using your computer to run CPUs, right, to do computation, you can actually farm. They call it farming because you can basically using your spare hard drive and home in your computer to do this farming basically. Then you basically earn like cryptocurrency, like Chia tokens based on how much space you have on your how much spare hard drive on your computer, basically, right? So there's an alternative to address the problem with mining, the energy costs, right? So I like this project because actually it's created by Brent Cohen, right? He was the creator of the BitTorrent, right? Everybody know BitTorrent, right?
Yeah.
So that come to the point of sometimes when you look at cryptocurrency, crypto projects and stuff like that, you have to look at who is behind it, right? And I feel like Brent Cohen, since he created BitTorrent, right, he probably made a lot of money already, and he know what he's doing. He has a lot of credibility, so that's why I would put a lot of more trust in what he does, Chia network, basically, right? So.
This is it's a good idea, right? I mean, it very clearly matches what Bitcoin does with, proof of work, proof of space, computational power, expending computation to mine coins, expending space to farm coins. It's a clever name calling it farming instead of mining because it's more energy efficient.
Yeah.
This is good. I might actually buy some Chia coins. Is it out yet?
I think it is, but why don't you just set up why don't you buy some computer, actual hard drive to farm? I think you learn a lot more from that, doing that.
I mean, maybe.
You can go to the website, download the code, run it, or you can, read their white paper and stuff. So I think you'll learn a lot more from instead of just buying it.
Yeah, but I don't really care. I got enough work and interest in my life already. I don't want to get into crypto.
Okay.
But I mean, this compared to most stuff, this seems like it has a good grounding, right? Because I mean, it takes something, it has a very concrete benefit over Bitcoin, unless they're hiding, there might be some negative they're hiding.
Yeah, absolutely. There's probably always some disadvantages, people are going to point it out, but anyway, I think there's a beginning of alternative to mining. Yeah.
I mean, would the disadvantages just be that the transaction time is longer? Essentially, like...
I'm not sure.
Would it be longer? I mean, doing the computation versus scanning the hard drive?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we'll see. They just launched recently, I think. So anyway, that's cool. I think that's all I have for today.
Oof. All right. Well, I think long story short, I'm gonna Google, can I buy chia coins? I'll let other people farm them, and because who really made the most money on Bitcoin, right? People who are mining, or people who just bought like 100 when they're early and cheap, and then waited till they turn into tens of thousands of dollars, right?
Well, original people who mine it, they got an original cost, right? It's the early days, right? It's still very cheap, so.
Oh, all right.
All right. So I don't know what to say because we're not live this episode. So
yeah, so you can, I don't know, have your end point, whatever. I thought you will try to come up with some kind of what do you call that? The end code or outro, something like that.
Outro. No.
So let's just summarize what you talked about. In the end, there's a lot of people are trying to implement a lot of different things sort of on the blockchain base. And most of them will fail and be pointless, but there's probably going to be a few that have a meaningful impact. And we'll keep monitoring. Shu will keep monitoring to tell us when ones stand out.
Exactly.
I was going to say we'll keep monitoring, but I will not be monitoring. I'll wait for Shu to tell us.
Yeah, so the whole idea, as I say, I find it very interesting because I feel like I'm learning a lot of stuff in there. Like even the concept of money, right? In the beginning, I don't really know what the concept of money until I try to understand like why Bitcoin is working, right? What's going on here? Why is it worth so much, right? Then when you dig deeper, you say, okay, what money is, or the other related concept, you kind of understand whatever's around you a little bit better. And then also, I think some people point out, right, if you believe the future is the money, the future of currency is digital, right? It's going to be some kind of critical currency, right? So if you believe in the future of currency digital, then, find some, I don't know, try to understand crypto a little bit more, basically. And also, I think the last point is, as we talk about, relate to the original message of the Genesis block of the Bitcoin, is the core idea is to remove intermediaries, right? Make it decentralized, right? So so that's the overall underlying goal, I guess, yeah. On the stuff, applications, yeah. Sounds good. All right. I guess we will see you next time.
Junto Club.